PHAINON truly excels in overall damage output and features very simple gameplay, despite having a rather complicated kit description. His presence has also helped bring back several support characters that were starting to fall behind in the current meta. Not because they were completely useless, but because some newly released limited units have offered far better benefits for team compositions. In this video, I'll be sharing a few preparations you can start doing right now, including materials and possible builds for PHAINON. This will cover the best relic options, alternative light cones aside from his signature one, as well as team compositions and which characters synergize well with him. Before we begin, I would really appreciate it if you hit the like button and share this video with your friends. So let's get this video started. Let's start with PHAINON's talent. When a teammate targets him with a skill or ultimate, PHAINON gains 1 stack of core flame. This also applies when he's attacked by enemy, he gains 1 core flame stacks as well. The maximum number of stacks he can accumulate is 12, with up to 3 excess stacks being stored. When PHAINON is targeted by an ally skill, his crit damage increases by 30% for 1 turn. Once he reaches 12 core flame stacks, his ultimate becomes available for activation. His basic attack is nothing special, it simply deals physical damage to a single target. Now moving on to his skill, besides dealing physical damage to 3 enemies, it also generates 2 core flame stacks. And once he accumulates 12 stacks of core flames through any of the mentioned methods, his ultimate can be unleashed. Upon activation, PHAINON and all enemies are transported into a unique territorial zone, leaving his allies behind. This means they cannot take action, and the battle becomes a solo fight. While inside this territory, all enemies gain physical weakness, and PHAINON no longer takes normal turns. Instead, he is granted 8 extra turns inserted into the action bar, with each turn operating at 60% of his base speed. When all 8 turns are used up, he delivers a final blow, dealing 960% of his attack as physical damage to all enemies evenly. He then exits the territory and ends his transformation. During this ultimate state, PHAINON gains access to 2 enhanced skills and 1 enhanced basic attack, which consumes a special stack called Scourge. While PHAINON is in his transformation mode, all buffs applied to him by allies will have their duration extended by 1 turn. He also gains several powerful self buffs, including crowd control immunity, attack, and a massive HP. Even though he fights alone during this phase, PHAINON cannot be defeated when taking a fatal blow. Instead, he will immediately restore 25% of his max HP. However, this will force him to instantly launch his final blow, which will end his ultimate early. As a result, the damage of the final blow will be significantly reduced. Now let's talk about his enhanced abilities during the transformation. His enhanced basic attack targets 3 enemies and also generates 2 Scorch stacks for PHAINON. The first enhanced skill forces all enemies to take their turn immediately, grants him Scorch stacks equal to the number of enemies on the field, and gives him 1 Soul Scorch stack, which reduces incoming damage. While under the effect of this skill, PHAINON will automatically counterattack when hit. And here's the catch. The more he gets hit, the higher the multiplier for his counterattack becomes. So what about his second enhanced skill? When you use this one, PHAINON dispels all debuffs from himself and performs a bounce attack, which you might recognize that as a huge meteor animation showcased in recent previews. The more Scorch attacks you have accumulated before using this skill, the greater the damage dealt to enemies. Let's move on to his traces. His first trace activates when PHAINON enters the battle and exits his territory. He will instantly gain 1 core flame stacks at the beginning of the battle and accumulates 3 stacks right after exiting transformation mode, helping him recharge his ultimate faster. This is extremely helpful, especially since PHAINON won't immediately get a turn after leaving his ultimate state. Next, his second trace. Whenever PHAINON receives a shield or healing from a teammate, he gains 45% damage boost that lasts for 4 turns. On top of that, whenever a teammate grants PHAINON additional energy, he will also gain 1 core flame stack. If you are wondering about his final trace, here's what it does. When entering battle or when his ultimate ends, PHAINON gains 50% attack, and this effect can stack up to 2 times, essentially giving him a massive offensive boost throughout long fights. Now let's talk about his technique. It works similarly to egg runs, allowing PHAINON to instantly kill enemies in the overworld, as well as in simulated universe or divergent universe, without needing to enter the battle. However, PHAINON's insta-kill is AoE based and consumes 2 technique points. To balance this, having PHAINON on your team will increase the max technique points by 3. But that's not all. When starting battle using his technique, all ally gains 25 energy. Also, the first time PHAINON enters his ultimate territory, he will immediately receive 2 additional Scorch stacks and 1 skill point for the whole team. Okay then, What about his Eidolons? Do they really make PHAINON even more crack? Let's talk about it next. Starting with Eidolon 1, it basically boosts his performance in pure fiction content. I think every time PHAINON defeats enemy during his transformation mode, the speed to turn conversion rate for his extra actions increases. This allows him to act even faster in content where multiple enemies appear rapidly. Now let's talk about Eidolon 2, which I personally think is his base Eidolon. If PHAINON consumes 4 Scorch stacks with one of his enhanced skills, he gains 1 extra turn. On top of that, his physical rest span is also increased, making this Eidolon incredibly powerful for his overall damage output and tempo during ultimate. As for the remaining Eidolons, they are good, but I would not say they are worth heavily investing into, especially if you are not a whale. His Eidolon 4 grants him 4 additional Scorch stacks when using his counter attack skill. Meanwhile, his Eidolon 6 removes the Core Flame stack limit entirely and grants him 6 stacks instantly at the start of the battle. Plus, his Meteor Strike, the bounce attack, will now deal true damage, ignoring defense entirely. Now, when deciding whether to go E0S1 or E1S0, it's worth reviewing his Light Cone. Aside from boosting PHAINON's damage directly, the most important aspect of this Light Cone is its base speed bonus, a crucial stat for enabling multiple actions during his transformation mode. It also provides defense ignore, which is especially valuable since most team comps will include harmony units rather than support characters that can provide defense threat or defense ignore. And another key point is, it's generally easier to secure his Light Cone than to pull for another copy of the character. So yeah, if you are trying to choose between the two, I would recommend securing his signature Light Cone first, and then consider Eidolon 1 afterward if you are still interested. So what's his best relic stat? Let's get into that next. Let's talk about best relic sets for PHAINON. The most obvious and arguably tailor-made option for him is the Wave Strider set. Not only does the 2-piece bonus provide crit damage, but the 4-piece effect increases PHAINON's attack up to 48% after using his ultimate, as long as he is targeted by a teammate's skill. This synergizes perfectly with his kit. That said, there are also alternative relics you can use in the meantime. Champion of Streetwise Boxing is a decent placeholder, and then if you are still early in gearing him, even the Scholar set is viable to experiment with, because many of PHAINON's attacks qualify as a skill damage. But since Wave Strider is already farmable now, I strongly recommend using your trail-based power in that cavern starting today. It's his best in slot, so farming it early gives you a head start. For the Planar set, since the majority of PHAINON's damage comes from skills, the best pick is Turtleland Arena, giving him both crit rate and skill damage bonus. If you feel his attack stat is lacking, Space Ceiling Station can help fill that gap with its strong attack percent boost. Now for main stats. Body piece, I recommend crit rate, since PHAINON already gets a lot of crit damage from his kit and minor traces. This is especially effective if you are running support units like Sunday with Sacredos, who also buffs crit damage. Boots use attack percent, not speed. Remember, during his transformation mode, his action order is based on his base speed, so extra speed from gear doesn't help. Planar Sphere, physical damage bonus, and Link Rope is attack percent. Now moving on to his Light Cones. His 5-star Light Cones is unsurprisingly his best option. He benefits massively from the increased base speed for extra turns, defense ignore, and of course that 60% damage boost, an insane cherry on top for his entire kit. However, for F2P players, don't worry, there are few solid alternatives. On the Fall of an Aeon is a very strong and accessible option, especially since it grants a huge attack percent boost, and is easily obtainable through Simulated Universe with full superimposition. Clar's Light Cone can also be useful. While it's defensive in nature, it provides attack percent and damage boost, and since it's already available in standard banner, many of you probably already have multiple copies lying around. For 4-star options, the most welcome you is a straightforward and reliable pick. PHAINON uses his skill often, so the attack buff will be gained easily. The new Bygone Light Cone might be even better. It grants crit rate to help smooth out his build, and the damage boost to his skill, which is his main source of output. Secret Vault is also usable, especially since PHAINON is designed to be a 1 or 2 cycle clear DPS in the most high level content. Among all of this, I think the most practical and cost-effective choice for players skipping his signature LC is definitely on the Fall of the Aeon, due to its easy access and full superimposition potential. When forming his team, PHAINON works especially well with supports like Sunday. Both his skills and ultimate align perfectly with the conditions required by PHAINON's talent, and he also provides energy regen, which helps trigger one of his traces. Speaking of Sunday, Bronya also synergizes well due to having a similar support kit. Other viable options include Tingyun, Hanya, Sparkle, and even Yukong. Now Yukong does have some issues. Her buff expires quickly as turns pass or even after her own turn ends. But thanks to PHAINON's ability to extend buff duration and the fact that his ultimate territory grants multiple extra actions instead of normal turns, Yukong becomes a much more viable support for him than usual. One important thing to note, PHAINON does not synergize with 3B, which is currently considered one of the most broken harmony units in the game. But this is actually great news, because it means you can freely use 3B in other team comps without having to worry about overlap or competition between your hyper carries. As for sustain, Huahua is a top tier choice for PHAINON thanks to her energy regen, which also helps build up his core frame stacks. But honestly, any abundance unit can work. Gallagher, Luocha, or even Lynx, especially if you equip Shared Feeling, which gives all allies a small amount of energy and does one core flame stack every time they use skill. Looking forward, there are rumors that Seridra will be his ideal support, but of course we will need more concrete info to confirm that. And that's it. These are all the material preparations and pre-builds you can start working on right now for PHAINON. So tell me, what's your honest opinion? Are you pulling for PHAINON or will you skip him? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I hope this video helps out all the future PHAINON mains out there. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more content, and I will see you all in the next one.